The morning sun cast long shadows across the research facility on Proxima Centauri. Kate Miller leaned over her microscope, studying the strange blue plant she had collected the day before. Her brown hair was tied back in a simple ponytail, and her green eyes narrowed in concentration. "It's responding to the light differently today," she said to herself, making notes on her tablet. The door to her lab slid open with a soft hiss. Kate looked up to see her husband Jack walking in, still dressed in his diplomatic uniform. His broad shoulders and tall frame filled the doorway, and his usually neat brown hair was slightly messy from the long journey. "You're back early." Kate jumped up from her seat and ran to hug him. Jack lifted her off the ground in a tight embrace. "The talks went better than expected," he said, setting her down gently. "The Taurians are interested in working with us." Kate smiled. "Tell me everything. What are they like?" They walked to their small kitchen area where Jack poured himself a cup of water. He took a long drink before answering. "They're impressive. Tall, much taller than humans. The shortest one I met was about 7 feet. Their skin has a bluish-gray color, and they have these ridge-like structures on their heads instead of hair." "What about their behavior? Their culture?" Kate asked, always curious about new species. Jack sat down, his eyes bright with excitement. "They're a warrior society, but not in the way we might think. Every Taurian serves in their military for at least 10 years. It's how they earn citizenship. They value strength, but also honor and discipline." "Did you meet anyone interesting?" Kate asked, sitting across from him. Jack nodded. "There was one commander, Zarvek. She seemed to be their lead negotiator. At first, I thought she was just another soldier, but she knows more about interspecies law than most of our own lawyers." "She?" Kate raised an eyebrow. "Yes, female Taurians hold most of the highest military positions, something about being naturally more strategic." Jack shrugged. "Zarvek was especially interested in humans. She kept asking about our physical limits, how we adapt to different environments." "That makes sense," Kate said. "We're smaller and physically weaker than many spacefaring species, but we've still managed to establish colonies on worlds that would kill others." Jack nodded, then looked thoughtfully at his cup. "There was something else, though. After the formal talks, Zarvek invited me to a Taurian ceremony. She seemed surprised when I mentioned I needed to get home to you." "Why would that surprise her?" Kate asked. "I'm not sure. Their family structures are different from ours. From what I could gather, they form groups rather than pairs." Jack yawned. "Sorry, the journey back was long." Kate stood up and offered her hand. "Get some rest. We can talk more later." As Jack slept, Kate returned to her lab, but found it hard to focus on her work. Something about the way Jack described the Taurian commander bothered her. She pulled up the limited information they had on Taurian culture on her tablet. Most of it was basic: their physiology, home planet details, known technological capabilities. But one small paragraph caught her eye. "Taurians form strong bonds with those they respect. These bonds often supersede other relationships and can be formalized through their tradition of vortal, a concept with no direct human equivalent." Kate frowned, not understanding what this meant. She made a mental note to ask Jack about it when he woke up. For now, she was just glad to have him home after his 3-week diplomatic mission. Little did she know that across the star system, Commander Zarvek was reviewing images of Jack Miller on her ship's display, studying him with intense interest. The tall, powerful Taurian turned to her second-in-command. "Prepare for a diplomatic mission to Proxima Centauri," she ordered. "I wish to continue our discussions with the humans, especially Diplomat Miller." 6 months passed quickly on Proxima Centauri. The colony had settled into its normal routine when the news arrived. A Taurian delegation was coming to negotiate resource-sharing agreements. "They're sending 5 ships," Jack told Kate over dinner in their small home. "That's a lot for a simple negotiation." Kate put down her fork. "Do you think something's wrong?" Jack shook his head. "No, but it's unusual. And guess who's leading the delegation?" "Commander Zarvek." Kate guessed, remembering the name from Jack's stories. Exactly. She's been promoted after winning some border conflict with the Raxus. The next morning, Kate watched from the colony's observation deck as the 5 Taurian ships entered orbit. They were massive compared to human vessels, dark blue with sharp angles that reminded her of ancient Earth sharks. "Impressive, aren't they?" said a voice behind her. Kate turned to see her friend Lisa, who worked in the communications center. "Very," Kate agreed. "Have you seen Taurians before?" Lisa shook her head. "This is the first time they've visited our colony. Your husband is the only one here who's met them." Later that day, the formal welcome ceremony began. Kate stood near the back of the crowd as the Taurian delegation walked down the ramp of their shuttle. She gasped when she saw them. Jack had described them, but seeing them in person was different. The Taurians towered over the human officials. Their blue-gray skin glistened under the colony's lights, and the ridge-like structures on their heads moved slightly as they walked. Their eyes, large and dark, scanned the crowd with obvious curiosity. At the front walked a female Taurian who stood even taller than the others. She wore armor with elaborate markings that Kate assumed indicated her high rank. This had to be Commander Zarvek. Jack stepped forward as the diplomatic liaison. "Commander Zarvek, on behalf of the Earth Interstellar Coalition, welcome to Proxima Centauri B." Zarvek bowed her head slightly. "Diplomat Miller, it is good to see you again. The Taurian Empire looks forward to productive discussions." Kate noticed how Zarvek's eyes lingered on Jack longer than seemed necessary. There was something in the commander's posture, a slight leaning forward, an intensity in her gaze that made Kate uncomfortable. Over the next few weeks, Jack was constantly busy with the negotiations. He came home late each night, tired but excited about the progress they were making. "The Taurians have amazing technology for water purification," he told Kate one evening. "If we can trade for it, it would solve half our water shortage problems." "You seem to be getting along well with them," Kate observed. Jack nodded. "Especially Zarvek. She's been teaching me about their customs. Did you know they have 7 different types of vows, each meaning something different?" Kate had been doing her own research. "I've been reading about them too." "Jack, have you heard of something called Vortal?" Jack looked surprised. "Yes, Zarvek mentioned it yesterday. It's some kind of special bond in their culture." "Why?" Before Kate could answer, Jack's communicator beeped. He looked at it and sighed. "I have to go back. There's an evening ceremony I need to attend." "Can I come?" Kate asked suddenly. Jack hesitated. "It's not really open to non-diplomatic staff, but I'll ask." The next day, Kate received permission to attend one of the cultural exchange events. She watched as Jack easily conversed with the Taurians, even attempting a few words in their complex language. They seemed impressed, especially Zarvek, who rarely left Jack's side. After the event, as they walked home, Kate asked, "Does Commander Zarvek always stay so close to you?" Jack looked thoughtful. "I guess she does. She's interested in humans, and I'm her main contact." "Why?" Kate wasn't sure how to explain her feeling. "Just curious. The way she looks at you seems personal." Jack laughed. "Their facial expressions are different from ours. Don't worry, it's all diplomatic." But as the weeks turned into months, Kate's worry grew, especially when she found an old Taurian text that explained what Vortal really meant. A claim of ownership over someone worthy of deep respect. A claim that could override all other bonds. After 3 months of negotiations, the human and Taurian delegations prepared for a celebration. The grand hall of the colony was decorated with symbols from both cultures. Soft blue lights mimicked the glow of the Taurian homeworld's moons, while earth plants adorned the tables. Kate adjusted her formal dress nervously. She rarely attended official functions but felt she needed to be at this one. Jack stood beside her in his diplomatic uniform, looking handsome and confident. "You look worried," he said, touching her arm gently. "I'm fine," Kate lied. She hadn't told Jack about what she'd learned. That Vortal was essentially a claim of ownership. She hoped her fears were unfounded. They entered the hall together. The Taurians were already there, towering over the human attendees. Commander Zarvek stood in the center, her armor more elaborate than usual, decorated with symbols of her military victories. Governor Chen of the colony stepped onto the small stage. Today marks a historic agreement between our peoples. The resource-sharing treaty we signed tonight will benefit both humans and Taurians for generations. Everyone applauded. Jack squeezed Kate's hand before walking to join the diplomatic team at the front. The formal signing ceremony proceeded smoothly, with representatives from both sides adding their marks to the digital document. After the signing, Zarvek stepped forward. The room quieted as she raised her hand. As is Taurian custom, successful negotiations are followed by personal bonds, she announced, her voice carrying across the hall. Today, I wish to honor one who has shown exceptional understanding of our ways. Kate felt a chill run down her spine. Zarvek continued, Jack Miller has earned the respect of the Taurian Empire through his wisdom, courage, and strength of character. Therefore, before all witnesses, I declare Vortal upon him. A murmur ran through the crowd. The human diplomats looked confused, while the Taurians made a rumbling sound that might have been approval. Jack stepped forward, clearly caught off guard. Commander Zarvek, I am honored by your regard. However, I believe there may be a cultural misunderstanding. Zarvek tilted her head. There is no misunderstanding. You have proven worthy of Vortal. This is a great honor. I appreciate that, Jack said carefully, but I must decline. I am already bound in marriage to Kate. The Taurian commander looked at Kate with what seemed like pity. Human bonding is primitive and temporary. Vortal is eternal and superior. Kate stepped forward, unable to remain silent. Commander, with respect, our marriage is neither primitive nor temporary. Zarvek's eyes narrowed. If you wish to contest my Vortal claim, there is only one way under Taurian law. She turned to address the crowd. The human female may challenge me for the right to Jack Miller. The human diplomats erupted in protest. Governor Chen rushed to Jack's side, whispering urgently. The Taurian delegation stood firm, their postures showing no room for compromise. This is ridiculous, Kate said, her voice shaking with anger. Jack isn't property to be claimed or won. Your cultural limitations are not our concern, Zarvek replied coldly. The Vortal has been declared. Either you challenge me, or Jack Miller comes with us when we leave. Jack tried to mediate. Surely we can resolve this diplomatically. Our cultures have different traditions. Silence, Zarvek commanded. You have been claimed. Until the challenge is resolved, you will remain with the claimant. That is our law. Two large Taurian guards moved to flank Jack. The human security team tensed, hands moving toward their weapons. Governor Chen raised her voice. Let's all stay calm. We need time to understand these customs better. You have 3 days, Zarvek announced. After that, the human female must either challenge me or surrender her claim. She gestured to Jack. Until then, Jack Miller will be our honored guest aboard the Taurian flagship. Kate's eyes met Jack's across the room. His face showed a mixture of confusion and concern. As the Taurian guards led him away, he mouthed to her, "Don't worry." But Kate was beyond worry. She watched helplessly as her husband was escorted from the hall, a prisoner of alien customs she didn't understand and a warrior she couldn't possibly defeat. Kate didn't sleep that night. She paced her empty home, trying to understand what had happened. By morning, her confusion had turned to determination. She walked to the colony's administration building where an emergency meeting was in progress. Governor Chen looked up as Kate entered the room. "Mrs. Miller, we were just discussing your situation." Kate took a deep breath. "I want to know my options." The colony's legal advisor, Paul Hayes, shook his head. "From a legal standpoint, this is unprecedented. The treaty doesn't cover personal claims like this." "I don't care about legal issues," Kate said firmly. "I care about getting my husband back." We've contacted Earth, Governor Chen explained. They're sending a diplomatic team, but they won't arrive for 2 weeks. That's too late, Kate said. I have 3 days. The room fell silent. Finally, Governor Chen spoke again. There is one option. You could accept the challenge. Paul laughed without humor. Have you seen a Taurian up close? They're twice our size and 3 times our strength. It would be suicide. Kate looked around the room. Is there anyone here with combat training? A man sitting in the corner raised his hand. I was a Marine before joining the colony. He stood up and walked over to Kate. I'm Steve, Colony Security Chief. And with all due respect, fighting Zarvek is impossible for a human. I'm not giving up my husband, Kate insisted. Steve studied her for a moment. Then we better start training now. For the next 2 days, Kate trained harder than she ever had in her life. Steve taught her basic fighting techniques, focusing on speed and evasion rather than strength. You can't match her power, he explained as Kate practiced ducking under his swings, but you might be able to tire her out. Each night, Kate collapsed into bed, her muscles aching, but each morning she got up before sunrise to continue training. Meanwhile, aboard the Taurian flagship, Jack was kept in comfortable but secure quarters. His room was spacious, with a view of the planet below, but the door remained locked. Commander Zarvek visited him daily, bringing information about Taurian culture and customs. You will adapt to our ways, she told him during one visit. Your human mate will not challenge me. It would be foolish. Jack tried to reason with her. On Earth, we don't settle relationships through combat. Kate is my wife by mutual choice. Zarvek made a sound that might have been laughter. Choice is irrelevant. Worthiness is what matters. I am more worthy. That's not for you to decide, Jack argued. No, Zarvek agreed. It is for combat to decide. Jack realized reasoning wouldn't work. Instead, he began asking questions about Taurian combat traditions, gathering information that might help Kate. What are the rules of the challenge? He asked casually. It ends when one yields or cannot continue, Zarvek explained. Death is not required, though it often occurs. Jack felt sick, but kept his expression neutral. And the weapons? Basic combat staffs, she replied. We are not barbarians. Each night, Jack wrote down everything he learned, hoping for a chance to get the information to Kate. On the evening before the challenge, a young Taurian officer entered Jack's room with his meal. While setting down the tray, the officer slipped a small communication device into Jack's hand. Not all agree with the commander's actions, the officer whispered. That night, Jack managed to contact Kate through the device. His heart raced when he heard her voice. Jack, are you okay? I'm fine, he assured her. But Kate, you can't go through with this challenge. Zarvek is a decorated warrior. I have no choice, Kate said. I'm not giving you up. Jack quickly shared what he had learned about Taurian fighting techniques. They have a vulnerable spot at the base of their neck ridges. It's hard to reach, but if you can hit it, it causes temporary disorientation. Their conversation was cut short when the device suddenly died. Jack sat in the darkness of his room, worried for his wife and angry at the situation they were in. Back in their home, Kate reviewed Steve's training and Jack's information. Tomorrow, she would face an alien warrior nearly twice her size. The odds were impossible, but she would fight anyway. Kate was practicing her combat moves in the colony's gym when the door opened. A tall figure stood in the shadows. Kate grabbed the nearest object, a training staff, and held it ready. I mean no harm, said a deep voice. The figure stepped into the light. Kate gasped. It was a Taurian, similar in height to Zarvek, but with lighter skin and different ridge patterns. The Taurian wore simpler armor without the elaborate markings of command. Who are you? Kate demanded, not lowering her staff. I am Vorlak, the Taurian said. Zarvek is my sibling. Kate tightened her grip on the staff. Did she send you to intimidate me? Vorlak made a gesture Kate didn't understand. No, I came because what she does is wrong. Steve, who had been watching Kate train, moved to stand beside her. Why should we trust you? Because I know how to defeat Zarvek, Vorlak said simply. Kate lowered her staff slightly. Why would you help me against your own sibling? Vorlak's dark eyes studied Kate. Zarvek's actions have divided our people. Some support her claim as traditional. Others believe forcing our customs on other species dishonors us. Which side are you on? Kate asked. I believe respect must flow both ways, Vorlak replied. Zarvek has forgotten this. Kate and Steve exchanged looks. Finally, Kate put down the staff. I'll listen to what you have to say. For the next 2 hours, Vorlak taught Kate about Taurian physiology and fighting techniques. They moved to a private room where the Taurian demonstrated moves on Steve, careful not to hurt him. Our nervous system is different from yours, Vorlak explained. We have clusters of nerves here, and here. The Taurian pointed to spots on their own body. Jack mentioned something about the neck ridges, Kate said. Vorlak nodded. Yes, but Zarvek will protect that area. However, there is another vulnerability. The Taurian pointed to a spot just behind their knee joint. A strong hit here will cause temporary leg weakness. As they practiced, Kate asked, why is Zarvek doing this? There must be plenty of Taurians she could claim. Vorlak was quiet for a moment. My sibling has always been fascinated by humans. Your species is physically weaker than most, yet you have spread across many worlds. Zarvek believes claiming a human diplomat will bring her prestige. Jack isn't a trophy, Kate said angrily. To her, he represents the strength of your species, Vorlak explained, and she respects his mind. That is rare for Zarvek. As the training continued, Kate grew more confident. She might not match a Taurian's strength, but with knowledge of their weaknesses, she had a chance. Before leaving, Vorlak gave Kate a small device. This contains visuals of Zarvek's previous combat challenges. Study her movements. She favors her right side and becomes careless when she thinks she is winning. Why are you really helping me? Kate asked, taking the device. Vorlak looked away. Zarvek and I were once close, but war and ambition changed her. Perhaps defeat by a human will remind her of humility. After Vorlak left, Kate spent hours studying the combat footage. She noticed patterns in Zarvek's fighting style, her preferred attacks, how she responded to different opponents. That night, as Kate prepared for bed, her communication device beeped again. She answered quickly, hoping it was Jack. Instead, Governor Chen's voice came through. Mrs. Miller, a message was delivered from the Taurian ship. Your husband managed to send you something. Kate rushed to the administration building. The message was simple, a diagram of Taurian armor with 3 spots marked in red. A note in Jack's handwriting read, weak points in her personal armor. I love you. Kate felt tears in her eyes, but blinked them away. Tomorrow would require all her strength and focus. As she walked back home under the alien stars, she thought about Jack and their life together. Win or lose, she would show Zarvek and all Taurians that human bonds were not to be underestimated. The day of the challenge arrived. The Taurians had set up a circular arena in an open field outside the colony. Hundreds of people gathered to watch, humans from the colony and Taurians from the ships. Kate stood at the entrance to the arena, dressed in light protective gear that Steve had found for her. It wasn't much, but it allowed her to move freely while protecting her vital areas. Remember what we practiced, Steve said, standing beside her. Don't try to match her strength. Use your speed. Governor Chen approached them. Earth has sent a message. They demand the challenge be called off. Will the Taurians listen? Kate asked. The governor shook her head. They say it's too late. The challenge has been formally accepted. On the other side of the arena, Kate could see Zarvek preparing. The Taurian commander wore her battle armor and stood nearly 8 feet tall. Next to her, Jack stood with 2 Taurian guards. His face was tense with worry. A Taurian official walked to the center of the arena and raised a staff. "Today we witness the challenge of Vortal," the official announced in heavily accented English. "Commander Zarvek has claimed the human Jack Miller. His mate, Kate Miller, challenges this claim." The official explained the rules. The fight would continue until one combatant yielded or could not continue. Killing was not required but was permitted. Each fighter may use only the provided combat staff, the official concluded, pointing to two long staffs placed in the center of the arena. Kate walked into the circle, feeling small as the crowd watched. Zarvek entered from the opposite side, her movements confident and powerful. They'd reached the center, and each took a staff. Up close, Zarvek was even more intimidating. Her dark eyes looked down at Kate with a mixture of pity and amusement. "You should have accepted the inevitable," Zarvek said quietly. "Jack is not yours to take," Kate replied, gripping her staff tightly. The official raised a hand, and then dropped it. "Begin." Zarvek moved with surprising speed for her size. Her staff swung in a wide arc that would have knocked Kate unconscious if it had connected. But Kate was ready. She ducked under the swing and moved to the side, just as she had practiced with Steve. Kate knew she couldn't win by attacking directly. Instead, she focused on evading, making Zarvek chase her around the arena. The Taurian's expression changed from confidence to frustration as minutes passed without landing a solid hit. "Stand and fight properly," Zarvek demanded after a particularly agile dodge by Kate. Kate didn't waste breath replying. She continued her strategy, watching for openings. She managed to land a few quick strikes on Zarvek's armor, targeting the weak points Jack had identified. None were decisive, but each one seemed to increase the Taurian's anger. That anger made Zarvek careless. She charged forward, swinging her staff with full force. Kate sidestepped and struck at the spot behind Zarvek's knee that Vorlak had shown her. Zarvek stumbled for the first time. A surprised murmur went through the crowd. But Kate's success was short-lived. Zarvek recovered quickly and changed tactics. Instead of wild swings, she began using precise jabs that were harder to evade. One caught Kate on the shoulder, sending pain shooting down her arm. Another jab hit her side. Kate fell to one knee, gasping for breath. Zarvek stood over her, staff raised for a finishing blow. "Your courage is admirable," the Taurian commander said, "but this ends now." Kate looked across the arena at Jack, who was struggling against the guards holding him back. Their eyes met briefly. As Zarvek's staff began its downward arc, a shout rang out. "I invoke the right of substitution." Everyone turned to see Jack break free from his guards and run into the arena. The Taurian official raised a hand, halting Zarvek's attack. "State the basis for substitution," the official demanded. Jack stood tall, his voice clear and confident. "Under Taurian law, a bonded pair is considered one entity. I claim the right to take my wife's place in this challenge." The arena fell silent. Taurians looked at each other in confusion while humans whispered anxiously. Zarvek stood frozen, her staff still raised. The Taurian official consulted with three older Taurians who wore elaborate ceremonial armor. Their discussion was intense, with much gesturing toward Jack and Kate. Finally, the official returned to the center. "The right of substitution is rarely invoked, but our ancient laws do recognize the concept of bonded pairs as a single entity." Zarvek stepped forward. "This is manipulation of our traditions." The challenge was accepted by the female. And yet, came a voice from the crowd. "His understanding of our laws shows why he is worthy of respect." Vorlak emerged from among the Taurian spectators. "The human has studied our ways. He honors our traditions even as he uses them." The official considered this, then nodded. "The substitution is allowed. Kate Miller may leave the arena. Jack Miller will continue the challenge." Jack helped Kate to her feet. She clutched his arm. "Jack, don't do this. She'll kill you." "Trust me," he whispered. "I know what I'm doing." Reluctantly, Kate limped to the edge of the arena. Steve helped her out while Jack picked up her staff. Zarvek looked down at Jack, her ridge patterns shifting in what might have been amusement. You would face me yourself rather than hide behind your mate. Perhaps you are worthy of Vortal after all. Jack settled into a fighting stance. I'm not here to prove my worth to you, Commander. I'm here to end this. Zarvek struck first, her staff whistling through the air with even more power than she had used against Kate. Jack barely managed to block the blow, the impact sending vibrations up his arms. Unlike Kate's strategy of evasion, Jack stood his ground. He blocked Zarvek's attacks and occasionally launched his own, though none connected with much force. You fight well for a human, Zarvek said after several minutes, but you cannot win this way. I'm not trying to defeat you physically, Jack replied, breathing hard. I'm trying to show you something. Zarvek paused. What could you possibly show me in combat? The true meaning of human bonds. Jack lowered his staff slightly. You claim I am worthy of Vortal because of my diplomatic skills and understanding of your culture. But look at Kate. All eyes turned to Kate at the edge of the arena, who was watching with concern despite her injuries. She faced you, a Taurian warrior twice her size. Knowing she would likely lose, Jack continued. She risked her life not for honor or tradition, but for love. That is the strength of human bonds. Zarvek looked confused. Combat decides worthiness, not words. Then let's finish this, Jack said, raising his staff again. The fight resumed, but something had changed. Jack fought with new determination, landing a solid hit on Zarvek's side. The Taurian commander responded with a powerful sweep that knocked Jack to the ground. She stood over him, just as she had done with Kate. You fought well. Now yield. No, Jack said simply. I will not yield my bond with Kate, not to you or anyone. If you want to claim me, you'll have to kill me. A murmur ran through the Taurian crowd. Vorlak stepped forward again. To kill one who shows such loyalty would dishonor the very concept of Vortal, sister. Zarvek remained motionless for a long moment, her staff poised. Then, slowly, she lowered it. In 300 years of challenges, I have never seen such devotion, she said finally. Your human bond is stronger than I understood. She turned to face the official. I withdraw my claim of Vortal. The crowd erupted in sounds of surprise. Kate rushed into the arena, helping Jack to his feet and hugging him tightly. Zarvek watched them, her expression unreadable. Your species continues to surprise us, Jack Miller. Perhaps there is much we Taurians can still learn about bonds and loyalty. Our cultures are different, Jack said, his arm around Kate, but respect and understanding can bridge those differences. Later that day, the Taurian ships prepared to leave orbit. Before departing, Zarvek approached Jack and Kate at the landing area. The treaty remains in place, she assured them, and I will ensure that no Taurian declares Vortal on a bonded human again. As they watched the massive ships rise into the sky, Kate leaned against Jack. Next time you go on a diplomatic mission, I'm coming with you. Jack laughed and kissed her forehead. Deal.